Positive energy can seem so hard to come by nowadays, and we are constantly bombarded with its other side, right? The other side of the spectrum, which is called negative energy. And it seems like you have to intentionally focus on creating positivity in your mind, in your life, throughout your body, in order to experience positivity back. And it seems like it gets more and more perhaps difficult, or maybe perhaps something that you have to be extremely intentional about in order to actually receive and experience positive energy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you 5 rituals that will in fact help you to attract and create positive energy. My name is DrAbundant, aka DrAbundant, PhD and ordained minister of metaphysical sciences, which is ultimately the study of spirituality. I am also the author of The Enlightened Shadow and Spiritual, Not Religious. So when we think about positivity, we think about that thing that we want to experience, right? That feeling, that experience, ultimately the existence, right? We always hear that we are, spiritual beings living a human experience. We always hear that we are divine and that divinity is within us, and that if we tap into that source within us, we can experience all the abundance that is available to us. Well, how do you do that? What I wanted to give you is 5 very practical, meaning very simple rituals that you can do every single day that will absolutely increase positivity into your life. The first thing you want to do when you wake up in the morning, which is number 1, is set a clear intention for yourself and for the day. Now, you have to be mindful about what it is that you're doing, because the mindfulness of what you're doing, what you're putting out, right, is going to in fact increase what exactly comes to you in return. You have to be intentional, meaning if you want positivity, you have to be intentional about putting that positivity out. Now, it can be simply putting out good vibes, putting out, joy, smiling when you speak to people, feeling really good about yourself, and making sure that is it gets across to other people well. But you also want to be mindful about what it is that you're doing, your actions, being intentional about your actions, making sure that your intentions aligns with what it is that you desire. You see, because let's get into it. Let's be real. Positive and negative is really just about your subjective point of view. It's about what it is that you desire truly. Does it align with what you desire? Then chances are that means it's positive. The further it doesn't align from your desire means it's negative. So it's really about gaining perspective and understanding what it is that you desire, right? Which is really important. It's imperative. And then recognizing whether or not something you are doing is in alignment with that desire. Something that you are doing is in fact going to get you a little bit closer to materializing and manifesting that thing. Is it actually going to produce the results that you want? For example, if you're always sitting on the couch watching TV, is that intentional with your desire to become healthy, right, and fit? Not. So you want to be mindful about saying to yourself, okay, how can I be more intentional? How can I be aligned with my desire to be healthy and fit? Of course, we always lean toward the path of least resistance. So you want to ask yourself, what is the simplest, easiest way to do it? Okay. Outside of course, artificial things or, things like surgery or, pharmaceutical drugs, right? You want to really be responsible and take action and own the desire that you want. So you want to be willing to put in some work. The question is, how much work can you sustain? So be intentional about saying, okay, you have to do something that aligns with what you desire. And more importantly, you have to sustain that over the course of time until, in fact, you get to the goal. So being intentional is really about aligning yourself, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions with that which you desire. Because when you are aligned with what you desire, then what you desire simply comes to you. Okay. It is that easy. It is that simple. We just make it way too complicated. So you have to be intentional. You have to set a positive tone by their affirmation, by either by, communicating with the people that you really want to work with and share and connect with, by doing the things that align with that desire, right? So you have to be clear and you have to align yourself with the experience that you desire. Secondly, you want to practice gratitude, right? Now, you've heard this before, I'm sure. But the thing is, gratitude is just not simply sitting quietly and thinking and visualizing that which you desire as if it already happened. That is a part of it, yes. But gratitude is more than simply acknowledging, okay, I am healthy. I am grateful for that, right? I have a family. I am grateful for that. I have an amazing partner or spouse. I am grateful for that. Gratitude goes further in actually exercising, actually using and doing, right? Putting to use the things that you're grateful for. Now, I'm not saying use your partner. I'm not saying use your kids. What I'm saying is make sure that you are engaged with that thing that you are grateful for. Make sure that you are actually loving it, nurturing it, polishing it, right? Make sure that you are actually engaged with it, that you are actually creating and cultivating a stronger bond with that thing or that person. You have to actually make sure it's like somebody having an amazing car, right? The car that they've always wanted, but they never drive it. So you can be grateful that you have the car, but true gratitude is actually driving the car. Okay. Yeah, you don't have to drive it thousands of miles every single day, but you want to drive it sometime. You want to actually apply, right, what it is used for, what it's designed for, the purpose of it. So it's about being purposeful as well. Okay. So gratitude goes beyond just visualizing. It goes beyond just thinking, feeling the desire of that which you want. But you can also be grateful for your ability to actually get the thing that you want. You see, you can be grateful for the intelligence, the access, the things that are available to you that you are actually implementing and doing in order for you to actually achieve that thing, as well as visualize yourself having the thing already. You see, so gratitude, there's multiple layers of how you can practice gratitude and how you should practice gratitude. Gratitude goes hand in hand with intention. When you set an intention, right, when you do something, think something, that is an intention. With that, there should be an underlying feeling of gratitude, that you're able to even have an intention, that you're able to even desire a thing, that you can even understand and comprehend and own the fact that because you desire that thing, that means that it's meant for you and therefore you can create it. You just have to simply go through the process of figuring it out. That is also gratitude. You see, so a lot of these things will go hand in hand, and there will be a little bit of a blurry line of like, oh, okay, well, if I set an intention and if I'm grateful for being able to set to intention, right, you have already two rituals in one. Then you start building up that momentum, that charge of positive energy, because now you have the intention of being nice, because you want to experience nice things, nice people, right? Nice exchange, nice experiences. Because you want to experience those things, you have to project that out. You have to match that frequency by what you desire in order for it to come to you. Okay? So let's go back. Number one, set your intention. Number two, gratitude. Practice gratitude. Number three, this is one of those things that many of us on the spiritual path tend to forget. We tend to ignore. That is, move your body. Now, I know yoga is a big part of our culture, but we can go beyond that because yoga isn't for everybody, right? So you can think about other ways of movement that would allow you to charge and generate this battery that I like to call the body. Okay. It is a battery to in fact give you the charge to move forward in the things that you wish to create and do, right? You have to do in order to create. Whether if you're doing is simply thinking, visualizing, right? Setting in the intention, gratitude, that is a doing. But then there's a physical aspect of it because we are all here in this physical realm having a physical experience. So therefore, you must do physical things. So you have to move the body, right? And it doesn't have to be anything intense or dramatic. Gentle stretching, walking, right? Dancing, right? Dancing while you're cleaning up the house, right? Just simply allowing yourself to recognize this body, that it is a gift, that it is an expression of your consciousness. Everybody's body is different because everybody consciousness is different. So your body is a representation, is an expression of your consciousness. And as your consciousness goes through different phases of unfoldment, awakening, your body will also go through those phases of change. You see, the body replaces itself every 7 years, excuse me. And so when you recognize that, even in our maturity, there is a range of about 7 to 8 years where we go from one phase of life into the next. The same thing applies to your consciousness, right? If I ask you about who you understood yourself to be 7 years ago, it's going to be different than who you are now, right? Who you see yourself to be now. So recognize, though, the importance of movement, some stretching. It can be very light. It can be you simply sitting on the floor, simply doing some movement, some stretching, taking time to be with yourself and connect with your body. Your body is your vehicle. It is the thing that is housing your consciousness. It is the thing that is housing your mind, the most powerful tool and machine there is and will ever be in the universe. So you have to acknowledge that. Okay. It goes back to being grateful, gratitude for the body that you have. So in order for you to maintain this body, you have to move it because that's what it's meant to do. The body is meant to move. Now, let's get into the fourth one. The fourth ritual is cleanse your space. Now, this can look like numerous things. This can look like literally cleansing your space, cleaning your house, making sure your room is tidy, right? Making sure your bathroom, making sure your car is clean. It can go in terms of making sure your body is clean, okay? Making sure your temple is clean, making sure that which is housing your consciousness is clean. Eating the best foods that you can eat, and then simply trying to get better and better and better over the course of time. Some consider saging, okay? Saging their environment, saging themselves as a cleansing of energy. So you have to recognize that there are multiple layers of all these things, but it's important to identify what resonates with you, but also recognize again how these things overlap with one another. When you cleanse your environment, right, you're cleansing your space. This is a space where your consciousness, where you essentially call home. You're spending a lot of time there, right? It can be your home, your room. It can be your office. It can be your car, right? Most certainly it's your body. You spend the most time in your body than any place else. So if all the places you need to put as priority, it needs to be the body. And recognizing that you have to maintain this body and that when the body is misaligned and there is dis-ease, it's hard for your consciousness to actually be available to channel the wisdom of the universe because you're dealing with pain. You're dealing with being uncomfortable, right? You're dealing with fatigue. You're dealing with depression as a result of your body not getting the proper nutrients. So recognize that. Recognize the importance of taking care of your body. Recognize the importance of moving your body. Okay. Now, yes, we need to recognize the importance of having a clean home. I'm a big fan of minimalist lifestyle. Okay. I like less things. So if you feel like your space is cluttered, you have to recognize that there's no way you're using all those things. Maybe if your room is like the size of this chair I'm sitting in, maybe. But you have to recognize that, okay, there are some things that you can let go of. Cleansing is a part of that. That's what cleansing really is about. It's about letting go of things that no longer serve you. It's about detoxing. Okay. So that way, the true aspect of who you are, the healthy aspect of who you are, but things can flow naturally. Okay. Things can flow naturally and actually be healthy and properly align with consciousness, with your intention, with your desire. Okay. So again, it goes hand in hand. 1, intention. 2, practice gratitude. 3, move your body. 4, cleanse your space. Okay. Now you can see how these can overlap. You cleanse your space. Even your home, if you clean it right, then it allows you to move. Number 3, right? It allows you to move well, move more freely, not be concerned about stepping on stuff. Okay. And tripping on things. It allows you to actually breathe well, right? Because you don't have any funky smells in your space. If your house is clean, then there's no funk. So you can just enjoy and breathe the freshness, right? If you sage, again, there's no mix of smells and fragrances going on there. You're not covering up a good smell with a bad smell, right? So be mindful about how these things work. Gratitude, right? When you move your body, one of the things that I love most about working out is when I'm in that pain pocket and I'm feeling uncomfortable because I'm pushing myself and I'm challenging myself. 1, I'm grateful that I can even do what I'm doing to feel this pain. So there's a sense of gratitude that I can do what I'm doing, even though a part of me doesn't want to do it, right? Because you feel pain. But secondly, when I'm done with the workout, when I'm done with moving my body like I like to move it, there was another sense of gratitude that I did it, that I followed my intention to be healthy, fit, and aligned, right? Physically, right? Which again is ritual 1. You see how we covered all of those rituals in one moment? That's what I'm talking about. And also, again, getting into the cleansing. Working out is a part of cleansing the body. Okay. So then let's get to the last thing. The last thing is simply end the day with reflection and meditation. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be ending the day that way, but that's how I wanted to word it, because in the beginning of the day, we want to start with intention. What is your intention for the day? And then make sure you follow suit with that. Okay. Now, at the end of the day, make sure you are reflective. Okay. Make sure you practice some form of meditation, contemplation, really sit with yourself, be with yourself. Okay. Slow down at the end of the day. Slow down, reset your energy, recognize how the day went, the intentions you set and what aligned with it and what tried to, take you off track, and then recognize, okay, your growth, where you are. You see, because that allows you to really take a serious inventory about like, hey, your growth. And it happens moment to moment, but day to day. And sometimes you can make some serious leaps in one day, but it helps to be reflective and think about your day, to actually take notice of it. Because a lot of times when we think about our day, we're thinking about it like in fragments, and we rarely think about the entirety. So what I want you to do is when you, practice this 5th ritual, when it comes to creating that positive energy, you have to, I shouldn't say have to, but you should start with the beginning of the day. Being reflective, meditative, thankful, right? You started your day like this. This is what happened. This is where you shift. This is where you change things and bring yourself back on track with your intention, right? Or not, maybe you didn't, but that's okay, because as you see the progress of, okay, I was clear and on track with my intention from 8 o'clock in the morning until 11. Okay. And then this happened, and then that just threw things off. So now, because you're in this space of, reflection, you can say, okay, that happened around that time. Tomorrow, I'm going to be more mindful about that time slot. So that way, if that happens again or anything like that, I'll know and expect it and be ready to correct it. Okay. So meditation is also a good thing to do. Meditation is something that I practice sometimes, in the evening and in the morning, but in the evening is good so I can just bring all of that energy, right, that I'm holding in from whatever emotions or whatever situation or, bad vibes or negative emotions, whatever. You can just drop that all and let that sink into the ground. Let that sink into the earth where the earth can recycle it appropriately. You see? So be mindful to practice meditation as often as you can. But these 5 rituals will most certainly elevate your frequency to a point of attracting positive energy. Okay. And the more you do these things and the more you are actually mindful in the process throughout your day, then you will also gain a sense of recognition, a sense of power, because you start to see how these simple things, these simple rituals will actually make the most impact for you. And that's what I want for you. I want you to actually recognize that the spiritual journey, though it has moments of difficulty because we are transforming, right? We are transitioning from the ego mindset into the conscious one. We're transitioning from identifying with the ego into understanding that we are consciousness. And so once you take this journey, there can be rough patches, there can be resistance, there could be moments of challenge. But once you get over that hump, right, that hurdle, and you get into understanding and identifying that, hey, I can just do these simple things. And these simple things in the meantime will actually make the most profound impact. You just have to be consistent with it. That's why I gave you these very simple but extremely profound rituals, because you can be consistent in all of these. It's just a matter of which degree. So I'm not suggesting when it comes to moving your body that you join a CrossFit class and you haven't worked out in 20 years, right? What I'm suggesting is you recognize where you are and you just step up a few steps. You just elevate a little bit because you want to be able to be consistent. Okay. You want to be able to recognize. So when it comes to, say, gratitude, if you're not used to practicing gratitude, one thing that I recommend is putting an alarm in your phone, your watch, and making sure that that alarm is only focused on gratitude. So when it goes off, it says gratitude. And then you actually think about something that you're grateful for in that moment. You start creating more alarms. Okay. It can be a little annoying, right? Because they're going to go off at random times, but you can set it in appropriate times that match your, leisure time. You see, but ultimately, you want to begin programming this habit of being aware and taking an inventory with yourself and saying, hey, I haven't thought about what I was grateful for today. And then eventually it'll just happen. Moving your body. Okay, if you haven't worked out in 20 years, go for a walk. Okay, walk a mile, walk 10 minutes. All right, don't set a goal for running a marathon in 2 months. Probably not a good idea, even though I think it is possible that it could be done. You'll make it over the finish line eventually, but it's going to hurt a lot worse than if you had trained for it, right? Cleanse your space. All right, if you're not the cleanest person in the world, isolate a space. Pick a space in your apartment, in your room, where you say, this space will always be clean. Every time I wake up in the morning, I'm making sure this corner is clean, and then I'm going to eventually grow. You see? Reflection. At the end of the day, when you go to sleep or at a particular time, because not everybody goes to sleep at the same exact time every day, but set a time. 9 p.m., I have an alarm, just simply to reflect, simply to meditate. Let me just close my eyes, observe my thoughts for 1 minute every single day. You can do it while you're watching your show on Netflix. You can just pause it and say, hey, we're going to just meditate for 1 minute. And then when you're done, unpause it and keep watching what you're watching. You can do it while you're in bed. You can do it while you're eating dinner. 1 minute is nothing, right? But it will create the habit. It will create the consistency that would actually create the results for you. So those are the 5 rituals. Let's go through them again. Set your intention, practice gratitude, move your body, cleanse your space, and end with reflection or meditation. This will help you. Trust me. All right. Thank you so much. Feel free, go to DrAbundant.com, subscribe to my daily newsletter, and get access to this free ebook and so much more. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.